Welcome back to Bodanza Disc Golf into what is easily going to be my coldest tournaments. Today I'm playing the 9th annual shootout at the Creek, which is in Foley, Alabama. Also, you like my new setup over here? Too many discs, but pretty sick. So gonna warm up, get started. Don't have really high expectations for today because I've never played these courses before. I've played it blind, but the last couple tournaments I've played have been relatively solid blind. But this is a 2-round in 1-day tournament, and I've never won one of those. All 3 of my wins have come in tee time 2-day tournaments, so I'm hoping I can actually take one of these down. But as long as I end up in like top 5, top 3, I'm pretty happy. So the big thing for me today is we're playing the hardest course first. So I want to not lose the tournament in the first round, because you can't win the tournament in the first round, but you can lose it. So just mitigate my mistakes, try to play solid, and then really try to get a little bit more aggressive if I need to on the back. And this will be the first round, and then the next video will be the second round. Should be fun. So real quick, I just came back here to give you guys a Black Friday deal, and my whole thing I just built the other day is broken. I still have some first run felons, trespasses, and EMAC truths, which if you want to pick any of them up from my website, bodanzadiscgolf.com, if you use the code subscriber, you're going to be able to get a specific percentage of discount, which is going to change every single day. Today, it's going to start off at 10% off, minus however many Circle 1 putts I miss in this video. So please go and pick these all up. I would love to sell out of them this week so I can make room for more for when we hit 10,000 subscribers. But for now, hopefully you don't see me miss too many Circle 1 putts for your sake. So here we are, nervously standing at the first tee of the day, which is actually hole number 9. It's the hardest par 5 on the course, 844 feet. So I take out an EMAC Truth and just want to try to get it up the fairway. I did walk this hole, but I didn't really have a great idea of what phenomenal shots would look like, especially getting off of where I wanted to be. So I'm really looking towards this left gap and thinking I might flex my straighter zone through it.
I'll get lucky.
Calling for it to get lucky because I totally missed my line, but it kicked off a tree that went back in the right direction. And so now I still have to get up into the next fairway, which juts out to the right, and the basket's still about 350 feet there. So I take my Razor Claw 3. My form felt better. Luckily got a second kick, which kept me kind of in the fairway. I'm so nervous right now. I don't know why. Try to get up and down, but taking a 6 here is not the end of the world. Now, a bogey's never really how you want to start your tournament, but that's a good mindset to be in, especially looking here where I have to get up and down from this shot to take a par. And I still have about 400 feet with a very strong right turn. So I decided to throw a paradox, which I just put in the bag for this super flippy spot. End up turning it over maybe a little bit too much, but get a solid kick that puts me into the fairway to get up and down with a simple chip hyzer for my bogey. Razor Claw 3 here. The way that thing skips is ridiculous, just straight left. Try to keep my misses bad or easy, and we should walk out here with a 6. But you always say should, and then you walk up to your first Circle 1 putt of the day out 20 feet, luckily cash it. My putt's feeling all right, that's why I've been practicing. And at this point, I tell myself 2 things. First, no more bogeys, and second, let's erase that bogey with the birdie. So I take out my Thunderbird, which is my trusty Thunderbird. Doesn't quite act like a new one would.
Oh my gosh, I ripped everything.
Just ripped it way over to the right. As you can see, I'm thinking about that swing, and there's something I'm gonna notice later that really helped me. But here I am at this upshot. I'm deciding between the inner core and my ESP zone, which I throw. Kind of thought I was going to cash it for a little bit. Wasn't trying to run it, but was able to get pretty much up and down. I'm so nervous, and I have no idea why I'm so nervous. I also don't have anything for this hole. I need a 7-speed that I can trust. Should have thrown a Bodum that I just put in the bag. But I just tried out the Thunderbird, and I knew I had to throw a little harder. But I think I'm just missing lines a little bit. Need to calm down. My body is tense. It's not loose. And when you're tense, you never really play like you do in your practice rounds. So here's my putt. Able to catch that for the par and move us on to hole number 11 here, which is about a 360-foot shot. Really fast turn to the left at the very end. I throw my Thunderbird again, but super inside. It does flip a little for me, which I like.
Go.
But didn't quite push it far enough or right enough to have a crazy good look. So I hit a tree here, and there's really like no look for me to run it, even though I'm about 55 feet away. So I decided to just step out, throw an anhyzer with an overstable-ish disc, my ESP zone, and literally put it underneath the basket for a drop-in for the par. Unfortunate, but we'll take it. Hole number 12 here, I'm looking again and trying to decide between my Thunderbird, my Graces, throwing a mid up the middle. And this is the hard part about playing all these courses blind, is I have no practice shots, so I don't know how to get to the landing zone. So I throw my Thunderbird on a forehand. Thought it was really good, but just flipped a little too much to the left and kicked me off into some bad stuff on the right. Now this hole's 420-foot par 4, so you could still probably get up and down. And so here I'm looking at, what do I even do? I can pitch out back into the middle, but I see a little overhand gap for my Razor Claw 3. I'm not great at overhands, and that's why this one's gonna hit the ground and start to just roll all over the place. Luckily, Wasn't the end of the world though. I have thrown this now 3 times and it has not been what I want, so I think I gotta start trusting a different disc. The main problem with that though is I don't really have another disc that I do trust. But we get up to the Razor Claw 3 and I have a look to the basket. I've not been hitting lines today, but I just have to trust that I know how to do it. So I take my ESP zone through this little gap between these trees, hit the line really solid, actually skips under the basket instead of going into the basket. We leave ourselves another simple 25-foot look-ish, maybe 20.
Good putt.
Thought I left it low. Luckily put enough spin on it with my wrist that we're able to put it in there. Hole 13 here is the next one, 426-foot par 4. Everyone else threw fairways, but I just decided that at this point, I need to start disking down and slowing down. Here's a side-by-side between my Thunderbird on hole 2 and then this hole. You're not gonna be able to see it super well, but if we go frame by frame, you can see that the disc leaves my hands about 4 frames later on the shot I just threw than on my Thunderbird shot because I'm focusing on slowing down and gaining a little bit of control back. And that definitely worked. So I'm able to walk up to my line here with a clear side of the basket from about 200 feet, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. There's 2 gaps, a right backhand gap, but I'm trusting my forehand a little more right now just for hitting lines in the woods. So I throw my Razor Claw 3, which is still just so overstable, hit a tree, end up having a putt for my first birdie of the round. And it's about at this point, hole 14, that I started to get a little confident. This is a 460-foot hole. I've felt a little bit better about hitting lines, slowing down. So I'm throwing my EMAC Truth again. Actually kind of missed my line. I meant to go inside of that tree I'm just about to pass, go outside of it, but still have a pretty solid look to get up and down because as you see I'm running here, there's a left gap and a right gap. The right gap is a little bit skinnier, but when I come back to my lie, you're gonna see I'm placing my marker in line with the basket because that's how you have to do it. But because of that, I can't step my right foot more forward on the screen, which is how I would like to throw this forehand through this gap because I'd square up to it. Instead, I'm having to stay behind my lie and throw kind of a weird shot like this, and that makes me throw it a little nose up. I really need to correct by throwing Anheuser, but that gives me a circle 2 putt, which I really like circle 2 putting. It's about 50 feet. Feel really confident going up to it. Release it, and I just never fully commit. My arm never fully extends. All right, man, commit. Hole 15 is 202 feet, so you really don't want to miss it. Here's Mike kicking off some twigs so I don't have to trip on it. Throw my Razor Claw 3, which is just so stable. I always kind of forget that. I also haven't been throwing very hard today. Not happy with that shot. I thought I was gonna have to lean out. Luckily, I just have kind of a 25-foot look here. Putt's been feeling good. Never really doubted that one, which is awesome. And now we're moving on to hole 16, 498-foot par 4. Up, you have to get through these trees, so I throw my Rive a little too nose up. I thought I had a great shot, but I just hit that one tree. And now I'm looking up because I'm still walking to be able to see the basket. It is way up and then back to the right. So I'm looking back from where my lie is at what to even do. I was thinking big turnover to maybe try to get there because I want to get up and down and give myself a look for the birdie. But I put my grace in hand and really try to trust my forehand in the work I've been putting in.
Good throw, man.
I was so happy with that shot. And it actually gave me, from a terrible lie, a look for the birdie from about 50 feet. That one was more committed, but it's hard when I have a plant right on my left side. I wasn't really able to get the angle that I wanted to. Took another par though. At least we're not taking a bogey. I'm gonna spoil something a little bit because hole 17 had one of the worst and then best moments of my disc golf tournament career ever. I decided to go pretty aggressive off the tee. It's 514-foot par 4. I throw a grace just way too nose up, and because of that, it really stalls. I threw it inside. Not a great shot. So that puts me in a position where I have kind of this lean out forehand. There's actually a line that I can throw through if I hit my grace correctly, and I'm about to toss it through there, and I really thought I hit it perfect.
Stop it.
Just didn't quite turn it enough. It was gonna be parked for the birdie if I was able to do that. However, moving up here, taking off my prep boy shirt, I guess, trying to stay warm. But I'm wanting to throw my inner core and really give it a good name.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Just such a lazy shot.
So lazy.
But then we move over to the inner core, still about 130 feet out. But I kind of got in the mode where it's like, I'm so pissed at myself for throwing such a bad shot. I'm not taking another bogey this round, and I'm just gonna let this play out for my fourth shot, which is kind of a putt, kind of a throw.
Come on. Do it. Yeah!
Let's go.
Nice putt, man.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so pissed about that shot. I had to make it.
Hey, yeah.
That has to be the best putt that I've ever made playing disc golf. forever. And so with some of that momentum, I tried to move into hole 18, which is a 720 foot par 5, which has an eagleable shape. If you throw a big flex forehand, get about 350 feet, you'll have a look up to get to the basket with a big backhand. So I throw my rive, just burn it way too much angle, really, really good line.
If I threw that a little less angle, that's up there for the potential eagle look.
However, not with an eagle look. Now I have to figure out how to get back into that second fairway that I wanted to be in. Not in the worst position. I can still get up and down for birdie, but I'm wanting to get a little, maybe too aggressive with the shot. I just think instead I put my hips a little too inside and hit that first tree.
Turn back.
Luckily, there was enough spin that I was able to come back into the fairway, but I'm really disappointed in myself with that shot because that shot was going to be really good too if it didn't hit that tree. And so now I'm thinking, hey, let's still get aggressive. Let's get this birdie because it's still like 380 feet. I can go through this really skinny gap between these two trees, which actually looks a little wider because the GoPro has a super wide angle lens. However, I decided to be smart, and instead of doing that, I'm going to throw my Thunderbird on a forehand through the big gap so I know I can at least get some distance and get up and down for par no matter what, as long as I have a good upshot from here. So Thunderbird, safe shot, kind of boring. Now I just got to get up and down. I really wanted to still go for the birdie, but that gap was just too small to feel comfortable turning something, and I already missed my line twice. Well, I hit my line with the rive, just too much angle. Man, that's where I would have been on my first shot easily if I hit my rive line or farther, and that's where you can really try to go for the eagle. Dang it. So I'm throwing 4 here with my ESP zone, and whenever I throw patent pending, I always forget I need to put so much more anhyzer on it. Well, I didn't forget. I intentionally thought about it. I just didn't put enough. So instead of being under the basket, I am pin high, but literally 32 feet just inside the circle. But my putting's been feeling good. Honestly, never too much of a doubt on that one. My putting feels great today. You guys still have that full 10% discount if you want it, and I guess there was a spider web I was trying to kick, so I didn't do it. I'm too short. This brings us to hole 1, 385 foot par 3 with a very tight right turn. I'm throwing my Grace here on a forehand, and just like my forehand form work, just a little bit I've done, I've already seen such a difference because that was so smooth. Didn't quite get as much turn as I needed because I didn't really realize how fast the turn came. So I'm a little bit deep of the basket and straight instead of right. Don't even really have a look, so it's kind of a half bid, but mostly just trying to pitch up, take an easy par on hole 1, and move into hole number 2, which is a 515 foot par 4. I throw my EMAC Truth on this, but just keep it a little too straight, but luckily get a slight kick through that puts me into an area that I'm able to throw a shot from. This is a really tight dogleg to the right after you get up to these bushes, so I decided to throw my Enforcer on an Anheuser flex line and just throw it a little too hard so it never really fights out of that flex. Maybe should have thrown something slower or just put it higher. So I'm in this area where I have like absolutely no look for anything. I try to stretch out here. I need more length in my body. A little too short for that. So I go ahead and look to the right, and there's actually a line through that little baby opening over there that I pitched through. However, my GoPro started malfunctioning because it didn't look like the camera battery was dead, but I missed that shot because the camera battery died. So now I'm setting up for this 55 foot putt, and once again, unfortunately, I turned it off. I didn't turn it off. It died. I just made another 55 footer. Dang it, I want no. Oh, shoot. It was sick. It was the whole ace. Like half stepped it in and then poof, just been committing better. Come on. Can't believe I did that. Well, good thing you don't have to believe it because you didn't do it, but here's BJ.
This one's for all you out there.
Hey, you didn't break it like you said. I like it.
What a birdie. So at this point, I'm stoked because it's been a couple of really hard par saves, but I've saved par on them, which moves us into hole number 3. Par 5, 731 feet. That Grace was perfect out of my hand.
So much, dude. That was so what I wanted it to be.
So this made me realize that Grace is just a little flippier than I thought it was, so I'm gonna have to compensate. But here I'm throwing my Felon for the first time in tournament, Bodanza stamped. Definitely need to do some more field work with it and figure it out because it just didn't quite get as far as I thought it would. So I'm throwing a rive out of here into some trees, so now I just have to get up and down for a 4, and I'm looking at the basket 260 feet away. I ranged it. Should be a super easy up and down with my Thunderbird, and so I just got to throw a pretty simple hyzer forehand, but not a spike hyzer forehand because I don't have that juice. Yeah, I just needed to throw that on a pushing hyzer because I just, with a fairway driver, I don't have 260 feet of a spike hyzer right now on my forehand. So I have this putt up, but really never had a good look, so I pretty much just laid it up. Good layup. I had some twigs in my stance there that I didn't want to hit. It's going to be my second bogey. Those will be the only 2 bogeys. Let's make it sure that's the case because I've not been getting birdies. able to take the bogey, unfortunately, and I walk up to this 410-foot hole. I'm like, with my grace, this is my birdie hole. I'm so confident walking up to this. Just into the bushes. Never threw it high enough. I've just not been throwing the disc well today. My putt has been saving my life.
Never even thought about that bush.
Missed the framing on this shot, so I'm throwing my fuse out of here. Thought it was pretty decent, but not super good. A little too high. Ends up hitting that tree because I was still about 300 feet out. But now I'm having to pitch up for the bogey. Take my bogey. 2 bogeys in a row. Let's stop the bogey train on hole 5. 240-foot par 3. There's 2 gaps. There's a left gap and a right backhand gap, which I'm going through.
Oh my gosh, man.
Or so I thought. I do not know what is going on with the disc coming out of my hand today. And so I go into this lie. There's OB right in front of the basket. It is a creek. So I'm thinking I could try to throw super hard and get it there, or trust my putter right now, which has been good, and throw just in front of the creek. My Razor Claw 3 just kind of glid to the ground. And we have here another 50-footer to try to save the par. Not super confident about it, especially because I've taken those 2 bogeys in a row, and I just hit the first available. But my putter has been on today. I have been loving it. Which moves us into hole number 6. 262 feet, par 3. I'm deciding between my ESP zone and my MVP, Axiom, whatever it is, Pyro. And I decided on the Pyro because, 260, let's try to get it there. I didn't quite trust the ESP zone there. Launch it, great snap. Solid form compared to what I'm used to throwing. Just hit that last tree, but that still put me inside the circle on an elevated basket though. So far you guys still have your full 10% discount, but that might change here. Or so that's what the bird razzing me thought, but I'm still 100% from circle 1, baby. I told the bird to shut up, and we're moving on to hole number 7. 327-foot par 3. I throw my Thunderbird again on a forehand. I don't know why I keep throwing this disc. It has always done decent things, but never great things for me. So I thought it was a solid shot, hit my line, but it's just short because I don't have that kind of juice with that disc right now, especially when I haven't been intentionally throwing hard. I've been slowing everything down. So here I have a putt from about 50 feet. It looked really good, so I had some hope, but I knew it was short out of my hand. Pitch up for the par, and moving on to our last hole, hole number 8, 449-foot par 4, and I'm like, let's get an eagle here. I know I'm maybe 1 or 2 back from the lead.
Let's go.
Yeah. Go.
Let's go.
Go.
Oh.
Go.
Come on.
Go.
Go. Get a skip. Get a skip. Get a skip. It's gonna be a little short, but it'll be probably a jump putt.
So we're looking at an eagle here because this is a short par 4. Could have thrown something maybe more stable, but I'm just happy that I actually threw that grace correctly once during the round. I know here because there's that tree to the right, I need to throw an Anheuser putt in order to actually give it a chance to make the eagle. But I just do my normal putting stroke, and genuinely, that was going in.
Such an
But I needed to play around the tree, and I did it, so we're going to take the easiest birdie probably on the course and end down 1 for the round, which I'm really stoked about. All right, let's chat. I'm kind of happy because this was one of the worst rounds I think I could have played, and I looked at my rating already. And it looks like it's not the worst. I'm actually sitting 1 stroke off the lead. Oh, actually, I'm not. I'm actually tied for the lead in a 3-way tie right now. And the round was 977, which for how terrible I played, I'm really stoked about. And I think the big reasons for that are putting. Like, because of Project 100 and putting so much, making all those putts, I didn't miss an inside the circle putt, and I think I was over 50% outside the circle. Like, I made some massive putts just from practicing, and that really helped me when I wasn't throwing the disc well, and I was not throwing the disc well. What's gonna be interesting is this next course that we're gonna play in the next video is apparently a pitch and putt style course. I'm playing it blind as well, but that's gonna be Birdie Alley. Luckily, I am tied for the lead, which is kind of crazy with how bad I was playing. Where would I be at MPO? Yeah, I would be 5th place. But honestly, like, not the worst, not the best, but for playing blind, I'm pretty stoked about it. A couple things as well that I'm sure I talked about while I was voicing over is slowing down the tee pad. It really helped me to dial in a little bit of accuracy and slowing down the disc. So you saw my grace. I finally got a good shot with it on the last shot, and I really think that was going to go in for eagle if that tree wasn't there, but it was, and I had to play around it, and I didn't. I needed to have thrown more mids. I was really trying to get drivers and fairways out there, and it just wasn't working. So I kind of have to resolve to myself that I'm not going to play a wooded course like that blind again, because it was just not, because I don't feel like I'm playing good. Like, it's good experience, I guess, but I need to get at least 1 practice round to figure out where the landing zones are. But if you want to see my last tournament vlog right over here, this is the Argo. It's another tournament. I ended up winning that. I guess it's a spoiler, but it says it won the titles. So if you want to watch how all that went down, really solid tournament, a little bit better than this. If it's already live tomorrow, go ahead and check out the next round right down here. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Subscribe, like the video. I appreciate you. Thank you for watching. Bye.